You're here for two reasons. You're looking to have more energy, so either you're looking for ways to eat or live to have more energy, or secondly, you're actually seeking or searching for my Eating for Energy program, because it's obviously, you're looking for energy. So I'm going to talk about both. I'm going to start off by talking about the first one and give you the nuts and bolts about what you need to do to have more energy, and I'm talking about all day energy, okay? Now, before we get into that, let me tell you first of all how your body is robbed of energy when you're doing things like eating chocolate, coffee, or even Red Bull and other energy drinks, okay? So here's how it works. When you eat sugar, you get a quick surge in blood sugar, right? And your body does not want that to happen. So what it does is it secretes insulin from the pancreas to take that blood sugar and store it in your cells, okay? Muscle, liver, fat. When that happens, and again, the higher the spike, the bigger the drop, okay? So if you have chocolates or coffee or whatever else and there's a lot of sugar, you're gonna spike that sugar, insulin's gonna take it out of the blood, you're gonna drop down, and you're gonna feel like you're in a coma, right? And that, we've all experienced that, it's that sugar low. And what happens when that happens is that we start to get anxious, we don't really think clearly. All we're thinking about is, where do I get my sugar fix? Where do I get my pick-me-up? And if this happens over and over again, this cycle of up and down, that's a very unhealthy state, and that can eventually lead to hypoglycemia, which is kind of the foundation of developing diabetes down the road, okay? Now, the other problem with that is when you're eating stimulants, the other thing other than the blood sugar issue is that they actually stimulate your adrenal glands. And your adrenal glands, kind of located just on top of your kidneys, what they do is they're your fight or flight organs or glands, right? So what they do is, in a stressful situation, whether it be you see a bear, you see a burglar coming towards you, you're about to hit a car, or even if you're eating foods that act as stressors like stimulants, they secrete cortisol and epinephrine or adrenaline. Okay, so when this happens, what adrenaline does, so I won't even talk about cortisol because cortisol is a whole other video, but what adrenaline does is it'll go into your fat cells and muscle cells, and it will call into action all that stored sugar, the glycogen. It'll break that down for immediate energy, because those stored glucose, or those stored sugar molecules, need to come into the blood to now be used for immediate energy, okay? So I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit here. What happens is, if this continues to happen, your adrenal glands are constantly being called upon due to different stressors like stimulants. Over time, they become tired. Right? And the same will happen for any organ in your body that is overworked and overstressed. And that leads us to adrenal fatigue. And if you have adrenal fatigue, and it's actually very common, most people don't even know that they have it. A very simple test is, if you're in any kind of stressful situation, if you get tired very quickly upon stress, that is a very good indication that your adrenals are overworked and probably fatigued. So as you can see, when this happens, you're not actually maintaining all day energy, right? You're taking a coffee in the morning, maybe, you're having a little surge for about an hour, then you feel like crap, then you'll seek out some other sugar fixes, maybe a bagel, maybe a muffin, it'll last you to lunch. Then that cycle continues. Mid-afternoon, you crash again, because again, your blood sugar's all over the map, your adrenal glands are not functioning properly, and this, my friend, is a surefire way to not only have less energy, but to destroy your body and your health over the years. Now, on the flip side, let me tell you what you need to do, and it's very easy to have more energy. And when I talk about energy, I'm talking about energy that gets you like jumping out of bed at like 6 in the morning and has you going all day, no problem, okay? Right here I have one of my favorites, concoctions, if you want to call that. It's a green smoothie. And the reason I'm a big fan of green smoothies is really because I love anything green. And I'm going to tell you why that's important. So there are a couple things to consider when you want more energy. And the first thing is that you need to be eating more fruits and vegetables. That's the first most important thing you need to remember. Fruits and vegetables are packed with nutrients very low in calories, okay? So you can snack on them all day, no problem. They're not gonna make you fat, so don't worry about eating fruit. People talk about it as making you fat. It doesn't happen. It's too much fiber to really impact any of that. But what they do is they do provide you tons of phytonutrients, food enzymes, which are in the raw state of the actual food, and vitamins, minerals, and all sorts of other stuff you don't get in processed cooked foods. So eating more fruits and vegetables, and preferably in their raw states, because when they're in their living state, they have a higher energy force. They have more of these food enzymes that I just mentioned, which are very important for restoring your body's depleted enzyme reserves. And it's almost tough to explain. You just have to experience it for yourself. But here's the most important thing when it comes to energy and fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are very alkaline forming once metabolized in the body. So what does that mean? Well, if you remember back to science, we have the pH scale, 0 being very acidic, 14 being alkaline, 7 being neutral. Your blood needs to be slightly alkaline, 7.35 to 7.45, in order for it to function properly. Your red blood cells, which circulate in your blood, have a negative charge around them. When your blood becomes acidic, due to eating a lot of animal products, grains, sugars, and processed foods, that negative charge disappears. And if you can remember what happens when, so just before I say that, if a negative charge and a negative charge are close to each other, what's going to happen? The red blood cells will repel each other, right? They're not going to be attracted towards each other. However, when those charges disappear, now the red blood cells can start to stick together, because some of them have negative charges, some of them don't. So they all clump together, and that's a very big problem, because if you remember, your red blood cells carry oxygen to your cells. So if the red blood cells are sticking together and not able to move through your blood, then you're not going to be able to get oxygen to your cells. Your cells need oxygen to produce ATP, which is your basic unit of energy. And that's just a very basic kind of sketch of how it plays out. So having a good acid-alkaline balance in your blood specifically is crucial to having more energy. If there is one thing that you can do to have more energy, it's to go green, okay? Have a green smoothie, have a green juice, make a green salad throughout the day. Do at least one of those. And even if you did nothing else to change your lifestyle or dietary habits, this alone would start to make a big improvement. Then if you start removing some of the things that are not doing your body any favors, you're only going to get more benefit from that. Okay. Now let me quickly share my favorite smoothie recipe with you. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm actually going to give you 87. That's right, 87 of my favorite smoothie recipes at the bottom of this post. All you have to do is just share this with a Google +1 or a tweet. Share this post with your friends. Just let them know that, hey, this is awesome stuff. You have to check it out. When you do that, you'll automatically be given an instant download, no email opt-in required, nothing. It'll pop up as soon as you do that, and it'll give you 87 of my favorite smoothie recipes, totally free. Now, to get you started off, I want to give you one of my favorites, which I'm drinking right here. 1 head of lettuce, the darker the green, the better. Parsley, about a handful. 1 banana, 1 apple, 1 pear. Take the juice of 1 lime, squeeze it in, and about 3 cups of water. Blend it all together, and that's an amazing smoothie. That'll give you about 1 liter to 1.5 liters, depending on how much water you put in. Now, if you have things like green barley grass or wheatgrass or those super green powders, you can top it off in there as well. So, great way to start the day. It's a great way to actually, if you want to just drink these all day, you would be like the Energizer Buddy on steroids, or whatever you want to call it. So that is how to have more energy, guys. It's that simple. Okay, it doesn't have to be complicated. The tricky part is implementation, right? And that's why I want to tell you about my Eating for Energy program. Now, you might be looking for this if you've landed on this blog post. And Eating for Energy is my best-selling raw food program. It is actually the best-selling raw food program on the internet, according to clickmate.com, and it's helped over more than 47,000 people as of this the date that I'm making this video. So why is it so powerful? Well, first of all, there's a lot of raw food programs out there. Some of them are good, some of them are not so great. But when I started off into raw food several years ago, I was consuming every raw food book possible. The biggest problem I found was that a lot of them required crazy ingredients, lots of prep, and took forever to make. And a lot of them were based on dehydrating the recipes, right? So you want to make a cracker or a crust like a pizza or a pie, supposedly being healthy for you because they're raw. Well, it took 24 hours to do the crust and another 24 hours to dehydrate and make something else. So you're making dinner for 2 days from now. I don't know about you, but that doesn't really sit well with me. And in fact, you know, raw foods, my view of raw foods and when I talk about eating for energy is really about easy and fresh ingredients that lead to easy, quick recipes. And in fact, in eating for energy, I give you 120 raw food recipes that take less than 10 minutes to make. That's pretty powerful. Now, I should kind of forewarn you that I'm not a raw foodist. I'm not 100% raw by any means. I used to be for a couple months. I realized that for me, at this point in my life, 100% is not the way to go for me. Now, for you, that's totally your decision. And my goal with eating for energy is not to convert you into a raw foodist, but instead to educate you in the first part of the program about why it's important to add more raw foods into your life and more plant foods into your life. And the second part of the program is about the how-to, where I literally hold your hand and I walk you through how to do it. Implementing all the recipes, implementing the changes, how to eat on the go, how to eat while you're at restaurants and traveling and all that kind of stuff. And that's really what's so powerful. Now, I call eating for energy the raw food diet for real people because, again, you know, if you're like me, you're busy with family, work, other things that you enjoy doing, and you don't have time for elaborate gourmet raw food recipes that, you know, in all honesty, are actually very high in fat and calories because of the heavy amounts of nuts and seeds that are used in a lot of those dehydrating based recipes, which don't actually energize you. They really just kind of bog you down. So, you know, instead of being like some crazy raw foodie who's going to end up going in the forest and foraging for mushrooms and other weird berries, you know, I don't think most of us are in that situation. So that's why I call it the raw food diet for real people. It's not a fanatical approach to raw foods. It's really a healthful way of living, which just so happens seems to be about incorporating more raw plant-based foods into your diet. And I would be hard-pressed to find, if you could find, any study anywhere that's ever been done that does not show that eating more plant foods, eating more fruits and vegetables is bad for you, okay? So at the end of the day, it's about eating more raw foods and more raw fruits and vegetables, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in Eating for Energy. You get the 120 recipes, a 12-week meal plan to put them all into play, more of my amazing smoothies and juices, and it's an incredible program. And once again, guys, you just really have to experience it. And I guarantee you, within a couple days of just implementing the strategies and the recipes that I give you in Eating for Energy, you will feel and look like an entirely new person. So if you want to learn more about Eating for Energy, you can go to the website directly, which is eatingforenergy.ca, or somewhere below this video on this blog post, there will be a link to that website as well.